nice at Rock Valley, and New Fonda won. So I looked up a little history on this, and girls were playing basketball in Iowa in 1892. And I've got some pictures. I remember when I was at Northwestern, there's some pictures of girls in dresses playing next to Zweimer Hall on an old hoop. They were playing.
Did you graduate
You know,
in
they had
1995? You said you were there.
Yeah.
That was your class?
My class, yes. So the first state tournament, what do you think would have been the first state tournament for girls basketball? Even though they started playing in 1892, it wasn't too well organized. So then,
1920.
pardon?
1920.
That's exactly right. And who won that first state tournament? A school in northwest Iowa.
Everly.
East of Sioux City.
Monona.
Everything is.
Straight east of Sioux City, no north or south to it.
Mobile.
Correctionville. Yeah. And then in 21, 22, 23, and 24, back championships, Audubon.
It ought to be.
So Rock Valley now has 4 state championships, and there's quite a few others with 4, okay? 5 is Dowling Catholic, even though Caitlin Karp, never won a state tournament. But they have 5. Then Audubon also with 5. Who do you think has the most championships in girls basketball?
Ladbrook.
It's 9.
It's not Everly.
Montezuma.
It's, think more 5-on-5. Yeah, so that's fairly recent. Y'all should remember that.
Whole Western.
They had 4, I think.
Cedar Rapids Regis.
Ankeny, remember when they had those ungodly teams there for a while? When did Young coaching there? I mean, they were good. Okay. Yeah. So on this day in history, March 9, 1959, in New York City, this item went on display.
Hope Diamond.
Good guess, but no. Pretty close to it. Barbie dolls? That's when it started. On this date in history in 1964, in Detroit, a car rolled off the assembly line.
That's First Mustang.
First Mustang. Remember they had the 64 and a halves? Yeah.
Lori, do you still have that original doll from '59?
Yeah, I had it signed and everything when I bought it,
And then, this is, next Sunday will be the Ides of March, right? Very famous slogan is to say, beware the Ides of March. Where'd that come from?
Caesar was, assassinated.
That's when Caesar was assassinated. But where did the phrase beware the Ides of March come from?
King Brutus, Shakespeare.
Well, that's kind of tied in with it. Because when Caesar got killed, he said, et tu, Brute? Yeah. You too, Brutus? Came from Shakespeare. He wrote Julius Caesar, I guess, so that's May 15. The May 15 kind of stands out for me because 60 years ago on May 15, my second daughter was born. And back in those days, it was a day like this, only probably even warmer. And back then when you had the baby, you bought cigars, pass around. And I went downtown to the Anderson drugstore and bought some cigars. Beautiful day. Some guys were golfing, Well, back in those days, you kept a woman in the hospital for 5 days. And so we came home. It was snowing a little. And as the afternoon went on, it snowed a lot. Our power was cut off. Had this brand new baby, but we had a fireplace, so we lit the fire, put her by the fireplace, and, that was the year Spencer actually was without power for 4 days straight. Yeah. So, better enjoy this weather, cause it might be coming yet, boys. We're not to the boys state tournament yet, so. Well, Brad's not here, Paul's not here. Any jokesters in the group? Got a joke, Jack? No joke.
I have one.
You do?
I looked it up.
All right.
This is a word of encouragement to everybody. Gotta put my glasses on so I can read it. So I was walking down the street and I ran into Fred, who used to be a classmate of mine. And I looked at him and I says, "Gee, Fred, you really look good. For being 60, you look more like 40. And the guy says, "Yeah, I try to keep in shape and I keep trying to do good." Well, if you look so good, how old was your dad when he died? Did I say he died? No, he's 85. He's out golfing and swimming, going all the time. Well, I looked at him again, I says, "Well, how old did your grandpa get to be?" And he says, "Well, he's out golfing, playing sports, everything else, and next week, he's getting married." Looked at him and says, "Why would somebody 105 want to get married? Did I say he had to?"
Good, that's good.
See, there's hope.
All right. Today we have a birthday, or tomorrow actually, it's Dave Harmlick's birthday. And Dave's looking past 40 probably, right?
A little past
Yeah, yeah. So let's sing a little happy birthday to Dave, all right? Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Dave, happy birthday to you. Then Lori got a message from the Lions group, and we've done very well with supporting these efforts for the Unity Point thing and the one for buying the one that Dale uses to go around the schools. We're sharing that with a couple, 4 or 5 other clubs, I think. And so we're getting a
I don't know.
Champions of Character, no, not champion, something. We're getting some
Yeah.
award
So,
because of your generosity. So very nice. You bet. All right, let's get this show on the road. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom ring. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for this new day. Thank you for the gathering of these lions. We remember those 2 that can't be with us today. They're out still enjoying southern sunshine. But thank you for those of us that could be here. This time of year, we think of the needs of the students that are out on the road, the spring break. Many will be returning tomorrow and Wednesday. Keep them safe, we ask. Thank too of all the travel involved in the sports contests that impact our community. We thank you for the skill that you give to our young people and for the entertainment value that it has for those of us who watch. We pray you'll keep keep them safe as well. That might be good representatives of our community and of yourself. Thank you for all that we enjoy here, our churches, schools, businesses. We thank you for everything that you give us, as well as this food, and we ask that you bless it to our bodies. We might serve you and others. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Well, since Brad wasn't here and I had to fill in, it's gonna cost you 50 cents today because it's just worth paying an extra quarter not to have Brad out there, right? You've taken care of him too, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's start with the school reports.
The only thing I'm aware of going on at Unity this week is the boys playing at the state tournament on Wednesday. As I had mentioned last week, they drew Western Christian. It's the 2-7 seeds. The winner of that game plays on Thursday at 7:15. The other teams in that side of the bracket are Regina Catholic and Appleton Parkersburg. So again, Unity's at 2 o'clock on Wednesday at the, what is that, KC Center now?
Yep.
Not a lot going on at MLC Floyd Valley either this week. We have a middle school concert tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And also we were notified that Doug DeZeo, our cross-country coach, will receive the Character Counts Coach of the Year award. He'll be awarded that at the boys state tournament on Tuesday night. So very good honor for Doug, and represents the work that he's done in cross-country and who he is as an individual. So we're proud of him as well. Thank you.
Okay, Northwestern, the baseball team went down to Florida. Their record is 10-5 right now. They were 4-2 in the games they played. They played another doubleheader today, and then they'll be coming home. The softball team went to Arizona. Their record is now 15-8. They were 3-4 in the games that they played down in Arizona. They don't play again until next week, according to the schedule in the on the internet. Parmalee, as you heard about it, the rest of it into the national tournament. He won one match and lost two, and so they do feel very successful as far as that's concerned. I looked for track, but I could not find anything about track. Does anybody know what happened with Northwestern track?
Just Kenzie Harder, I think, was an All-American in the long jump. I think that was the only point scorer at the national meet.
Okay.
What happened to our good long jumper? Did he hurt or something, or?
He finished 9th, so just out of the. So.
Yeah.
All right, well then basketball, both of our teams there into the national tournament, our women qualified and will be going to Michigan for a game on Friday. And it's just like the men's tournament. There will be two games there, and then the winners would play on Saturday. The men will be playing here, and we play Taylor on Friday evening at 5:30. Then there'll be another game after that with William Penn and
College
Idaho, I think. Yeah. And the same thing. The two winners will then play at 7 o'clock on Saturday night. I think that's it as far as, yeah, those are here. Yep, those are here. Okay. Yep, that does it.
All right, Harold.
My privilege today to introduce Avery Geesaman, the Director of Esports at Northwestern. I like to start with a few jokes, so I looked the whole bunch up and I didn't understand them, so maybe he'll explain them.
Thank you. I wasn't totally sure if I was going to have a screen to share with you guys or not, so I did make a little presentation, but I will just read off of it kind of as my notes here. But it's great to meet with you all today. My name is Avery, and I've been in the esports world for almost 10 years now, whether that be competing, coaching, playing collegiately, and it's just great to be here to teach you about something probably completely new to most of you, but something that Northwestern is really excited about and something that they succeed in. That's why I'm here. I believe that this is a really nice program that has a great culture of improvement, and it's just a really great pleasure to be with them. So I'm originally from South Central Pennsylvania, and I went to school at Shenandoah University in Winchester, Virginia, where I actually studied esports management as my major. So you guys are probably more familiar with like a sports management degree or like a business management degree. But with esports management, you take a lot of those same classes. It's still under the business school. But I had an esports focus, and I took some esports specific classes there. So I studied esports as well as competed for the school there. I competed for a long time myself, but I played at the varsity level at Shenandoah in a game called Super Smash Bros. But we had a lot of other teams as well, and that was one of the first programs that really took on esports as both an academic venture and a competitive venture. So currently I am the director of esports at Northwestern College. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with the old director, Cole Prescott. He was very influential there, built an amazing program and culture, and he is now working for a company called NACAD, which is a kind of consulting company that helps smaller programs as well as new coaches kind of learn the tricks of the trade. So that's a guy that really knows what he's doing and has left me with a great place to pick up from. I also, on a personal note, love to play table tennis and badminton. So there's some fun facts about what I like to do recreationally. So what is esports? You guys probably are familiar with video games in general, but how does it differ from competition in video games? So esports is just a form of competition where we're going to compete through these video games. And video games have evolved very rapidly. They've gone from a single-player venture where you're trying to get like a high score or defeat computer-based bosses or survive a length of time. Those we consider video games, but esports are those games that have a very focused multiplayer component. So my team or me as an individual plays against you or your school in a video game that allows us to do that. So examples of that are like if we have a team-based like shooter game like Overwatch that we compete in at Northwestern, like my team plays against your teams, not against computers, not to gain a high score. That's how we make it a competition outlet. Esports, often the developers try to balance the game in a way that makes it fair. So certain characters or abilities are either strengthened or weakened to kind of preserve competitive integrity. You won't see that in video games that don't get updated or whose updates add more content, not necessarily fixing the content that already exists to make it more balanced so that the competitive scene enjoys it more. And an important thing about esports is that when people are playing it or practicing it, they're often doing so to intentionally improve rather than just have fun with the game. It's a real competitive pursuit. So that's another thing you won't see in video games that you will see in esports. So what does esports look like specifically at Northwestern College? We compete in 3 games right now. They're Overwatch, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Rocket League. So just to kind of break down what those are, currently we're competing in Overwatch, which is a 5v5 player. It's called a hero shooter, and what that means is that I'm going to use different kinds of heroes, so just think of them as like superheroes, characters that have different abilities, different strengths, different ways of kind of combat we use those heroes to try to control like a piece of territory, try to secure this objective, and I'm fighting your team to control that space. That's Overwatch. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is where we use two iconic Nintendo or other fighters like Mario, Sonic, Pikachu, those kind of fighters, to kind of beat each other up and knock each other off of this stage. That one's pretty easy to follow. That one we compete in the fall. And then Rocket League as well is one that you may be familiar with, is a lot like soccer, where you use these cars that have this jet propulsion ability that you kind of fly into this soccer ball and try to score into the other team's net. That's one we compete in as well. So those are the three games. We have varsity and JV teams. Every single athlete that plays esports at Northwestern receives some kind of scholarship for that. So that can range a good bit, but that is super helpful for some students. We get a lot of pull from a lot of areas because we offer that, and that's something that my old school didn't have, and we had a very developed esports program, and that's something really special that attracts a lot of students. These students also have the ability to work in our broadcast. So we stream all of our matches on a website called Twitch. That might not be one you're familiar with, but it works a lot like YouTube, except it's really focused on streaming. It's totally free. You can watch all of our matches, and students help with that broadcast and with commentating those matches as well. So that's a great experience for them. I did that in college, and that was an amazing experience. One thing you may not know about Esports Northwestern is that all of our athletes also participate in team lifts, just like other sports. So we have the weight room twice a week that we make sure all of our athletes are staying healthy and participating in that part of an athletic endeavor, as well as the online competition. So our practices take place in our esports arena on campus at Van Brusen Hall at VPH. We're in the basement of that, so a little bit secluded, but I think it's intentionally secluded because that space is only open to the esports athletes. That's something that was different from my old school, where they had that space open to all gamers, but that space is just for us to practice and somewhat compete from. We practice in there. The teams work with some external coaches, as well as myself and each other, to improve at their games. For practice, they do a lot of scrimmages with other teams. For our competitions, that actually takes place at the hub, at the Student Center. So we compete right in front of all the diners. The students set up the competition stage. They set up the broadcast right in person. If you've never seen that, I highly recommend it. If you have the option to go to that. Again, that's also on a website called Twitch. If you want to check us out there, I can show you how to do that. But that's two great ways to check out Northwestern Esports. That in-person spectating for esports is totally new to the program. That was just implemented last year, and I think that's a really incredible addition, because that allows the students to really feel like they're competing in a space where other people can come watch, whereas in the arena before, that's a little secluded and people wouldn't really come to that. So that's a really nice addition that looks really great. One thing you also may not know is kind of how these students compete. So most of their competitions is online. They compete versus a wide variety of schools. Doesn't matter what division of athletics they're in, doesn't matter what school size it is. Every year we'll get kind of a general skill level placing, and we'll play against teams that also compete at that skill level. So the game that we're currently competing in, which is Overwatch, our team is playing at the very highest skill level. That is by far Northwestern's most impressive team, and they are really incredible. They're playing against the very best schools, and they do all that online. But what's really exciting about esports is that occasionally they do get to compete in person as well. And believe it or not, we actually competed in person just this weekend. I just got home from Chicago, where we competed at an event called Midwest Battlegrounds. And that was an incredible event where we took the Overwatch team, and they did amazing, defeating schools like Syracuse, schools like DePaul. So they're really looking good at that, and that's a great opportunity for the students to get that experience playing against others in person in the same competitive format, but just the stakes are higher, the spectators get to be there, there's live commentators. That's a really great experience. I'm really glad when we're able to do that. Northwestern really focuses on taking our team to at least one of those events a year, and it's obvious why that is a really great experience for everyone involved. Just a final few observations I've made about Northwestern as a program comparatively to others. Esports being under athletics is one that may feel obvious to you, but it's not obvious to every school. So a lot of schools will have esports under like student life or even IT, but athletics gives us a lot of advantages, like being able to use the weight room, it makes practices more formal and consistent, and really we're able to offer scholarships easier. So I really enjoy having esports under athletics. That's definitely a plus for me here at Northwestern. And we do have seasons of competition here, but that is not the case for every school. A lot of schools will compete in their games year-round, every game year-round. They'll play one season in the fall and one season in the spring, and that's generally in the same league, but they'll play slightly different teams. It's not necessarily cumulative. It's like 2 separate seasons. We just compete in one of those to give the students 1 semester off currently. That's something that I'm wondering whether or not I'm going to change based on how I feel like that flows this semester. But that's something that Northwestern currently does. And yeah, obviously the broadcast and the public competition space is something that not every school has. That really excites me here. That's an observation I made that I was surprised by, because my old school, we were very esports focused. We had a full-time staff member to run our production and to recruit students and teach them to do that. Here, the students run everything, and it's really easy on my part. If I didn't have their skills, it would be my job to step in there, and I can't do everything. So it's really great to have students that are willing to take that on. And if they tell me that when they're coming to the school as a freshman, I will give them additional scholarship for that as well, because those are valuable skills that they can take not only to our program, but also into any future positions in broadcasting that they may desire. But that's kind of an esports overview, what we do at Northwestern, what the industry is like, myself. I'd like to leave time open for questions, because I know that a lot of these things it's easier to ask a question about it than for me to give you an overview. So does anyone have any questions I can answer? Yes.
Curious, how many students are currently involved, and is it co-ed or is it all men?
So currently we have 20 students involved. There's typically more than that. We had quite a bit of turnover right before I came, but it is co-ed, but currently we have all men as the athletes. That's something that I would really like to change, but that is an open opportunity. Yes.
Similar to other sports, that we would just compete like at the NAIA level, or would we compete against some of the NCAA?
Yeah, so that's a common misconception. It doesn't matter what the school is affiliated with as far as athletics. We're not tied to that. So based on how good my Overwatch team is going to be what schools I play against in Overwatch. So if Syracuse is that good at Overwatch, we're going to play against them. If they're not, we might play against a school you've never heard of, but they're very good at this specific esport. So that has nothing to do with who we actually play against. Yes, in the back.
Do they have, is it part of the GPAC conference? Are there other schools? Do you compete for a conference championship?
So that's actually one of the fun things that was implemented recently. I believe it was 2 years ago that they did the first GPAC in-person tournament, and that's one of these in-person tournaments that the team will go to in April. So a couple of GPAC schools, field teams, not all of them, and we will all meet together at Briarcliff and play these games to compete for a GPAC championship, yes. But it's not, in our regular season, it's not like we're only playing against GPAC schools. That's just a separate in-person tournament that we also participate in, if that makes sense.
So you compete as a team? How many players on a team?
So we have 20 athletes, but they all play different games. We have 3 games that we play. So on our Overwatch team currently, we have 10 players. So our varsity team has 5. So when we play against other teams, we'll play a 5v5. So it's an esports match, but more specifically, it's an Overwatch match.
So of the 5, do people have specific things that they're better at?
Yes, definitely. So in a game like Overwatch, they have what's called a role. So like, we only have like, we have one varsity, it's called tank player, and his job is to basically be at the front of the fight and absorb a lot of damage to kind of lead the team into taking space into these territories and stuff. So that's like your point guard, for example. So yes, they do have specific roles that they slot into in those teams. It's not the case for every game. In a game like Rocket League, oftentimes, even though it's like soccer, they're oftentimes playing the role of offense, defense, all around. Yes?
I'm really not familiar with video games. I see my kids and grandkids play them, and it's usually the race car, the shoot 'em up, bang 'em up type of games. But is that what it is, or is there any anything like Jeopardy type skills, you could say,
Gotcha.
in the games?
I would say no. I wouldn't say there's any like of those kind of games. The esports that you'll see played are largely games like you said, shoot 'em ups, where you try to kill the other team. Other games like Rocket League are a bit more similar to traditional sports. Like I said, it's kind of like soccer, but even like the traditional sport-based games, like if you've ever heard of like Madden, where you like play football in the video game, like that's not largely played at the collegiate level. Some schools will have it, but yeah, I don't think any of the like game that you're talking about would be considered an esport, because yeah, I mean, I see how you could think that, because like that is competing against another person in like a trivia thing, but no, I've never heard of that.
How do you recruit your athletes? Yeah. I mean, like you've got 10 with this Overwatch now. Say 3 of them graduate. All right. How do you get them?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I'm continuing to learn to navigate as a new director. But one method is that there are online platforms that you can look for athletes through. So they're not as expansive as the traditional sports ones. But I can look at this website that shows me, students that are interested in the school and also play this game and how good they are, and I can reach out to them directly. But one resource that's really nice to have is that admissions actually gives me a list of, on our application form to come to the school, there's a box you can check that says like, I'm interested in participating in esports. Just like there is one that says, I'm interested in playing basketball. So like the coach can reach out to you and talk to you about what that would look like. That's extremely helpful for me, because I can reach out to those students who are already looking at the school, who may also have interest in esports, to determine, what level of scholarship they would receive, if they would play for which of our teams. So that's a really useful resource. But oftentimes, it seems like the players at Northwestern come from either these online platforms that I'm talking about, or they come from me going out to in-person esports events and recruiting directly. So 2 weekends ago, I was at the Iowa High School State Esports Championship, and at that event, there was like college tables where the high school esports athletes could talk to the colleges to, express interest, and those kind of events are where a lot of our athletes come from as well. Because Iowa actually has a really nice high school scene. So does South Dakota, and so does Nebraska. Like the Midwest has a really nice high school scene. So we get a lot of interest at those like state tournaments of players that are serious about the game that want to come. Yes.
So in all sports, seems like everybody's rated. So does your team have rankings?
Yes, they do.
Do individuals have rankings?
Yeah, I can try to explain that to you. So as in a lot of esports, specifically in 2 of the ones that we run, as an individual in the game, you can achieve a rank. So those ranks are typically associated with like medals, like bronze is the lowest rank. And as you win in the game's ingrained ranked mode, you climb the ranks. So a lot of our players will play at these very high ranks in the game, but then and that's how you largely get determined what other schools you play against. Like my school averages like diamonds as like a high rank. We'll play against other schools that also average like their players in that rank, if that makes sense. But also as a team, there is rankings for that as well, but less official. So there's like a panel of, let's call them Overwatch experts, like in collegiate, right? And they will kind of get together and determine who the top 20 Overwatch teams are for that semester. So that does exist. Whether that's like official or not, we can, discuss that. But yes, the team is ranked individually and as a group. And Northwestern is very high in Overwatch specifically. Yes.
So if we're very high, how would you explain what you might call the skills curve? Is it a natural talent, or you work with these kids to develop the strategies?
I'm not sure I'm familiar with the term skill curve.
How quickly do kids learn this, or do they just have the native skill when they arrive at Northwestern?
Gotcha. They definitely develop during their time at Northwestern. They definitely get better, but that's not really what largely my job consists of. They will come into the school with a pretty high set of skills. At least for our higher ranked teams, like the way Northwestern's built, like some of our Super Smash Bros. Players, they come in with a lower basis of skill, and they improve a lot as they come, and they get a lot, and they learn a lot at the school. And other teams do that too, but I would say they have a higher basis of skill coming in. So they are far more talented than I can teach them directly. So that's why I hire more external experts to help them with their game specific things. And then it's my job as the director. That's why I like to call myself the director, not necessarily esports coach, because I can't teach the Overwatch team things that they can do better from a game standpoint. They certainly learn as they're at the school, but they come in with a higher basis than I know. So that's why I make sure that they have that coaching opportunity so they can improve, as well as have me to schedule their competitions, take them in person, that kind of thing. Hope that makes sense. Okay.
It tells me when I'm not a candidate.
I assure you that everyone that comes to school and plays for the team has had a few years of playing experience on that specific game, if that helps. Some can learn very quickly and make our varsity team in a year probably, but I would guess that those kids, especially if they played in high school, have more than 5 years of experience on their game.
You mentioned 3 games that you compete in. How many are there? Are there other collegiate teams? Are there 5 different choices and we pick 3? Or
There's quite a few. I can't give you a solid number because there's a lot of games that some would consider esports and others wouldn't. The 3 that we have here are largely based on these are what a lot of the kids that are in high school around this area are playing. So we used to play this game called League of Legends, and that's a very popular esport. It's very popular at the pro level. People it's very popular, especially in Asia. It's one of the most popular games over there. And although there is a collegiate scene for it, there's a very, very nice collegiate scene for it. We weren't able to get League of Legends recruits at Northwestern. We were getting so many Super Smash Bros. Players that were planning to come to the school. And so Cole decided to drop League of Legends and implement Smash Bros. Because that's just where the interest lied. If I had to give you a number, I'd probably say there's less than 10 that I would consider esports, but there's so many. You just got to pick what your students are interested in. And we focus on 3 games, but a lot of programs will focus on 7 or 8 and really spread themselves out and not because they get a lot more volume of students. But we're really focused on these 3.
So I was gonna ask you, in Iowa, how many schools have something like this going on in their schools? I mean, a quarter of the schools have, maybe Mike knows or something.
Yeah, maybe you could answer that question better
Just
than me.
curious, how many?
MLC does not have this program, but there are several in the area that do. Sioux Center would be my example. They have a club, esports program. They have kids involved in. I have no idea on the percentage of it's 25 or if it's 40 or I don't know the answer to that.
I would be confident that there's hundreds of schools engaged in it, but I don't know what percentage of that, of schools that is. I just went to the state championships and they had about 8 teams for each game in that. but those come from a much larger pool. But yeah, it's I can tell you it's much more popular here than it is in a place like Pennsylvania, oddly enough.
When you enter a competition, do you know what game you're going to be competing in, or
Yep.
how does that work?
Yeah, so our athletes, they'll specialize in one game. So although we're an esports team, we all play our individual games. So when my Overwatch team enters a competition, they're only going to play Overwatch. And that's league play, that's in-person play, that's all of it.
How did Northwestern find you? I mean, you were from Pennsylvania. How long have you been here and what?
It's been a great experience. I come from a very rural area, so I'd say like adjusting to Orange City has been very simple for me. I don't feel like I'm in a foreign place. Northwestern has been a really great experience. Like I said before, like their culture, their esports program being as serious as it is, has really drove me here and has made me really enjoy it.
So this is your first year at Northwestern?
Yeah, I just started in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's a really great place.
So Northwestern was advertising for a coach, and then you responded to that, or? How
Yes, correct. I was intentionally looking for a director of esports position, and that opened up here and came down for an in-person interview. Had a great experience. Yeah. You'd be surprised how easy it is to find esports jobs. You might think that's like a foreign thing, but I have this like online platform where I can see all sorts of postings for esports jobs, and Northwestern was on there.
Well, find yourself.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you.